Oh, maybe Shannon's talking to him.
You might be talking to him.
That sounds good. I feel like that's good.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so for the first time ever in Kentucky sports radio history, we want to welcome on a friend of ours who's been on Pardon My Take. He's a legend in the state of Kentucky. He's a horse racing aficionado. It is St. John's head basketball coach, Rick Pitino. Coach, are you there?
I am. Good to be with you guys.
It's great to hear from you. We're very excited to have you on. So we've hosted this show eight years in a row whenever Matt is on vacation. And we were the first to say that Cal was on the hot seat 8 years ago. So today has been a victory lap for us. And we thought there's no better guy to have on to pump up Big Blue Nation, your relationship with Mark Pope, than Coach Rick Pitino. So let's start there. I have some St. John's questions as well. But
okay,
what are we getting out of Mark Pope as a basketball coach?
Well, obviously, I'm extremely biased because he was my captain of the national championship team and was a great captain, a tireless worker. And I absolutely love him and what he did for our program. But that being said, when I was not working, I traveled out to see him coach a small school, Division I school in Grand Valley or something like that. And I was blown away for how good a teacher he was. And then I watched every game I could at BYU and loved their offense. It was great ball movement, great player movement. And I just think Mark does a fabulous job of communicating with his players. He has a great way about it. And he has a quality that very few of us have. He has incredible humility. And for somebody who, at a very young age, just as a tireless worker and is accomplishing things, he's always maintained the same humility that he had back when he was a player. And Mark would, obviously guys like Antoine and those guys are all guys from inner cities, and my language wasn't the greatest either, but every day with Mark, if he made a mistake, he would say frick. And constantly frick, frick, frick. And finally, after a week of this, I said, Mark, I can tell you whatever God that you pray to, he knows what you mean. So why don't you just say it or drop it?
That's
It's
great.
just words.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it doesn't matter if it's an R or if it's a U.
Yeah.
I think the message is getting across.
I love it. And I think the thing that Kentucky basketball fans should be excited about, and maybe you can speak to this more, is Kentucky basketball in the last few years. Now, obviously, Cal had success at the beginning of his run, but in the last few years, it feels like the actual coaching X's and O's maybe wasn't there all the time. Mark Pope, if you watched him at BYU, the guy knows how to coach basketball. And maybe you could speak to this specifically, but like being able to coach guys and put them in the best sets to be able to, draw up winning plays at the end of games. I feel like Mark Pope is the perfect guy for that.
He is. Look, Mark Pope he tried to become a doctor and it wasn't his niche. Mark Pope was a Rhodes Scholar candidate, and he's just an extremely bright person. And combining his credentials about being bright, he's an excellent teacher of basketball. He also has, he was also a terrific basketball player that got the maximum of his abilities because he gave it all every single day. Great leader. He showed great leadership. Everybody in the team just thought he was the best guy in the team in terms of never said a negative word about a teammate, never said a negative word about his coaching staff. Loyal to the point that you couldn't quite believe it. And his wife and children are the same way, just wonderful, wonderful people. And, look, Cal did a terrific job, but what happens with a lot of coaches, I mean, there are exceptions to the rule. I think Bill Self and I think Mike Krzyzewski, you run out of familiarity breeds contempt. You're there a long time. You get a little stale. You need another journey. And so everybody, this is now Mark Pope's time.
Yeah.
And Cal was great for the University of Kentucky. He brought them a lot of success, and we wish him certainly well at Arkansas. And then now it's time to move on and have a whole different brand.
Coach, do you have any message for the Kentucky fans that are listening right now? I don't know if you've had an opportunity to address them over the last few years here, but we've got a lot of them listening right now that care about you, that care about the program.
Look, I love the Kentucky fans. To me, are very, very special. They were and treated me, my family, with great reverence. I got nothing but great things to say about the Kentucky fan. I totally get it today, why they were bitter at me at going to the University of Louisville. I was going back because the reason I was going back is I loved Kentucky so much from my UK days and wanted to relive that love of the sport. But right now they have a fabulous program with all sports. And I think that it's going to be a special time for Mark Pope and the University of Kentucky Wildcats, because I think the fans are going to fall in love with Mark.
Yeah.
Because the thing about him, the Pope didn't matter. The name on the back never mattered to Mark. He could care less about individual glory, could care less about if anybody mentioned that he played a great game. It's always about team. It's always about Kentucky. And the Jeff Shepherds and Ron Mercers and Mashburns and all those guys that I coach, it was always about Kentucky. Pelfrey, Fellhouse, Farmer, all about them. And I used to always kid those guys in the locker room. They always every time they put the jersey on, Pelfrey would tear up. And I'd say, something wrong with you, John? You're not feeling well? He said, no, every time I put that uniform on, I just can't believe I'm putting it on. I said, well, get over it, John. We got a big game, man.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Playing for the name on the front of the jersey is important, especially in today's college basketball.